Hey, what's going on, everyone? Matthew from therighttrader.com back today with another daily crypto update. Right now, cryptos are a little bit uncertain on where they're heading next, so we're going to pay close attention to certain support and resistance levels over the next day or so to really get an idea of where we'll be heading in the next week. And I'm really talking about the short term here. So there is a possibility that we do see a bit of a drop. However, we could also end up having a pretty big breakout as well. So it is a little bit 50-50 right now, and that's what we're going to cover the technicals in just a second to clear things up. But we're going to get to that very quickly. First, I wanted to mention over the past 24 hours, we did get a slight drop. And make sure to follow me on Twitter for live cryptocurrency market updates. Link to that in the description of this video. Not that much news going on recently, but what was interesting today is we ended up, falling quickly and quite significantly lower all of a sudden. For Bitcoin, we went all the way down to $7,863, and we actually ended up swiftly recovering from that, and actually, recovering completely back to where we were towards the beginning of today. So that is pretty interesting. Definitely a bit of a bear trap. Now the question is, are we going to manage to move higher? Get back up towards $8,400, or are we going to see a bit of a dip before moving higher again? I do think that in the medium term and long term we are moving higher. The question is, over the next couple of days, are we going to fall lower or not before moving higher again? So that's what I'm going to try to cover in this video. Keep in mind, it's not financial advice, it's just my personal opinion. But starting off with the chart of Bitcoin here, we can see that we have a couple good signs and a couple bearish signs. So first off, we got this dip today, and we basically bounced off that $7,950 support level. Great hammer candlestick, which is very bullish. And that's something that can't be discredited. And now what you have to be careful of, we are seeing some weakness on the MACD and histogram, and we also weren't able to get back above the 70 line on the RSI. And we have a little bit of a head and shoulder formation right now, which usually leads to a move lower. So since we have some of these bullish signs and some of these bearish signs, it's very hard to know what's going to happen in the short term. The best way, I think, to really be able to predict that would be to look at the support and resistance levels that matter here. And as far as letting us know that we're going to move higher above $8,500, I'm looking for a move right above $8,300. So as soon as we get a move above $8,300, I think we're going to move above $8,500 very quickly thereafter. However, if we go below $7,950, which we tested a couple times now, and while we have been putting in higher highs higher lows, if we do end up moving below that level again, I think it's very likely that we end up testing our middle band, which is currently sitting at $7,374 on the Bitcoin chart. So that's where I would expect to bounce. There is always a possibility that we would drop even lower than that down to our uptrend line, but I think based on this bull move, that would be a logical area to get a bounce if we were to fall lower. So I wouldn't really expect a drop much lower than that. But keep in mind, if we're able to stay above $7,950 and we get that move above $8,300, I think we'll be starting to see another breakout happen. Let's go ahead, take a look at Ethereum now, see what's going on. So we're going to take a look at the Ethereum chart. Ethereum is below this previous uptrend line over here. However, it is finding some support at around $450. So that is a pretty big support level. Right now, the indicators are pretty flat. No clear signs of where we're heading next. We're actually in this channel between this yellow uptrend line and this pink uptrend line. So we could trade in this channel for quite some time. What's going to be interesting and what could create more of a bullish move is if we're able to get back above this pink uptrend line and start moving above $500. If we're able to test $500 one more time, I think that we're going to get that move to $600 without too much trouble at all. Let's go ahead, take a look at Litecoin, see what's going on. So we're going to take a look at the Coinbase chart here, and Litecoin is right on support level at around $82. Quite a bit of selling volume. Indicators definitely on the weaker side here, not really able to move higher. We're stabilizing or dropping a bit, and that is okay, right? Like I said, we do have a lot of support at $81, but if we move below that, that's when we might enter longer consolidation potentially. Let's go ahead and take a look at Nano, see what's going on. Nano has been one of the cryptos that struggled the most recently, and unfortunately it's falling even lower I'm not sure if there's been any specific news to Nano. I just think that it's kind of haunted by its past, and since it wasn't acting that good when other cryptos were. I think people have been just kind of avoiding it, and that created a move below 30,000 satoshis, which was our first signal that we're going to continue to move lower, and that's exactly what I predicted. So now we're dropping down to 25,000 satoshis, and I think we could continue to move lower until we start to see some kind of stabilization, which for now there aren't any signs of that happening. We just turn even more bearish on the other side, dropping below the 30 line, unfortunately. Let's go ahead, take a look at Ripple, see what's going on. So taking a look at the Bittrex chart here, we can see that Ripple is right in the middle of its range between 40 cents and 50 cents. Ripple actually has a history of these very long, tight consolidations, and that's exactly what we're seeing this time around once again. So we're trading right where our middle band is at. Our Bollinger Bands are in line with our support and resistance levels, and I think that this consolidation is probably going to continue a bit longer. Keep in mind, as soon as we break either below the support level or above the resistance level, that's what's going to set the trend from there on out. But for now, still in this very tight consolidation here, right around that middle band at around 45 cents. Let's go ahead, take a look at NEO, see what's going on. NEO, also one of the cryptos that struggled a little bit more recently. So if we take a look at the chart, we're coming back down to our lower Bollinger Band. We do have a nice little range here, though, which could help support the price and avoid a bigger drop. But you have to keep in mind, definitely not the strongest crypto right now. Price action, flat to bearish, and on the indicator is very flat, right? So if we move below our support levels, that's going to create a bit of a hit, and we can move back down to $26. If not, probably going to see a bit of consolidation here until we're ready to move higher again. Let's go ahead, take a look at EOS next, see what's going on. EOS was also one of the cryptos that surprisingly has been struggling, and I say surprisingly because not that long ago it was actually one of the strongest performing cryptos. Now, it had its time to shine, and it's kind of pulling back from there. So we just dropped below the 30 line on the RSI. That turned very bearish. Now we got to break below our uptrend line. That's not good at all either. And basically, we have this last bit of support at 9,300 satoshis, but a move below that is going to push us all the way down to our next support level at 7,000 satoshis. I think there's a possibility that we test that level. For now, we're still okay, but it is a possibility if we move below 9,300 satoshis, that really does become almost a likelihood. So we want to make sure we get a bounce pretty soon and remain above 9,300 satoshis at all costs. Let's take a look at our next crypto, which is going to be Stellar Lumens, and see what's going on. Taking a look at the Binance chart here, we can see that Stellar unfortunately dropped below its uptrend line, even dipped below its middle band, and we'll see if we're able to get back above those two things sooner rather than later. But for now, it's just the beginning of this drop, and our indicators just turned even more bearish. MACD went below its orange line, histogram turned negative, the RSI dropped below the 50 line, so these are all very bearish signals, and I think that at this point, it's pretty likely that we test 3,400 satoshis, even a possibility that we move lower down to 3,000 satoshis at this point, right? We never actually came back and tested our breakout area, so that, based on previous experience, there's a pretty high likelihood that we end up testing the breakout area. So if we look over here, we ended up getting a move higher, and then we tested the breakout area again. So, history repeats itself is what I'm trying to say. Definitely a possibility that we do end up going back down to 3,000 satoshis here if we start to see continued weakness over the next week and a half. Let's go ahead and take a look at our next cryptocurrency, which is going to be Lisk, and we're going to take a look at what's going on here. So, taking a look at Lisk, we can see that basically acting very flat, pretty big red candlestick today, which could lead to some more downside here. Definitely something to pay attention of. But for now, we're still okay. As soon as we start moving below the $4.77 support level, that's when I think we might start to see a move down to $4. So we have to be careful about that. Let's go ahead, take a look at Cardano now, see what's going on. Cardano is dropping significantly lower here, and what scares me with this is it kind of leads me to think that, the rest of the market is going to see a bit of a drop here, including Bitcoin and others, basically going back, maybe testing the breakout areas, at least for Bitcoin, but it's possible that the altcoins get a very hard hit here. It's looking like that for the time being, so we'll see. but we dropped below 2,000 Satoshis. Next support level is at 1,200 Satoshis. I think for Cardano, very high chance that we test that over the next month. Let's go ahead, take a look at IOTA, see what's going on. And if we take a look at IOTA, we can see that we are right above our uptrend line, but with all these altcoins dropping, it's going to be hard to remain above this level. Any move below our uptrend line is probably going to push us down to 60 cents, 50 cents, and if we move below that, 33 cents is our next support level, and that will complete the reversal to cancel all the progress we made after the beginning of the move. So that will wipe out all the gains that we had over the last couple months. Unfortunately, it is what it is. We'll see what happens if we reach that level, but for now we're going to be paying close attention to look for a drop below our uptrend line. With that being said, thanks for watching. I'll see you next time.